How's it going? Welcome back to a special video today as we take a look at Revenge of the Savage Planet. Now, sorry I've been gone for a week for the wise ones coming back, and if I do sound like a nasally little douche in this video, it's because I'm not feeling that great, but I thought today let's talk about Revenge of the Savage Planet. And as you can see, I am a professional YouTuber because I'm filming in my kitchen. Feel free to feel huge amounts of sympathy for me and give me money.
You are a worthless street rat.
So my final verdict for Revenge of the Savage Planet is the retention. You have to actually watch the whole video. Oh no.
I recreated every single. This is one of the dirtiest. This is the most expensive. I just bought that private. This is the largest slice of pizza.
In all seriousness, it is great to be back and just having a few days away from YouTube, which is normal for most people, but it does really make me appreciate just the community that we're building here, the wise ones. So if you love game reviews and analysis and philosophical content, you're in the right place. Subscribe to the channel, become a wise one, and think for yourself and join this fantastic community. So I do hope you enjoy this Revenge of the Savage Planet review, and a little reminder, this game is coming out very shortly, but you can grab the first game right now on Instant Gaming by using my link down below in the pinned comments. It's a way to give back to the channel, this community, and, you know, it's a win-win for both of us because you get to play games on a huge discount because Instant Gaming, it always comes with a huge discount, and by using my link, you can secure a huge discount, and it helps support my channel as I am trying to go full-time, so it's a win-win. Keep an eye out on Instant Gaming as this game will be available day one, and also with a huge discount on release, but you can already play the first game now or pre-order the second game, and I would highly recommend that you play that one first or buy this on Instant Gaming because you just secure a huge win when it comes to not paying full price. And as we know, games are getting more expensive, so use my link down below to save yourself some money.
I changed all these people's lives, and I can change yours too. So come to my seminar. The life of your dreams is only good to see you again, George. You're under arrest. You gotta be joking.
So let's get straight into this Revenge of the Savage Planet review. Now, I played completely the full first game, and I absolutely loved that. It was a great time. I played it co-op with my brother, and that was called Journey to the Savage Planet, I believe. Now, this is the sequel, Revenge to the Savage Planet, or Revenge of the Savage Planet, I should say. And basically, it's different in a couple of ways. Basically, now it's changed into third person. It's much more of a platformer, and they've heavily emphasized the comedic aspect of this game. And that's something I really want to talk about straight away. And bear in mind that this review of Revenge of the Savage Planet is based on the early access gameplay of the second game, okay? So do keep that in mind. This is an early review of what has actually been seen and played and all that stuff. So basically, if you don't know, these developers were a AA studio, almost an indie studio. I don't think there's many of them working on this, like 30 developers. Shout out to the developers. If you need music for your games, then hit me up. But basically, you know, it's a small team, and this is what I love, you know, smaller teams trying something unique and creative. But I do have to preface this video that this game is not going to be for everyone. Just like the first game wasn't for everyone, and as much as I enjoyed it, it didn't hook me, and I never thought about it afterwards. And there's nothing wrong with that type of game, you know, kind of comfort food type gaming. A kind of comfort food, you could say, gaming experience. And that's exactly what the first game was for me. It was very much a Metroidvania in which you have to unlock certain items to progress and complete certain puzzles and stuff like that. But the first game was much more combat focused with all of these weird alien creatures. This time around, like I said, it's third person, so it's much more focused on platforming, less focused on combat. So that might be a win for some people who love that type of platforming experience. And a good thing is it does remind me of those earlier games back, you know, on the PlayStation 2, very much, you know, akin to games that I absolutely love, like Ratchet and Clank, but even have some enemy types in this game, like the slimes, which literally remind me of some of the earlier enemies in Ratchet and Clank, where basically you shoot them or slice them and they actually multiply, and I just love that kind of old school feel that this game has. But I want to preface this video especially because this game is about humor a lot, okay? And I don't think it's going to work for everyone. I think this is going to work for people who want a casual experience with their partners or with a younger member of their family or friend or something like that. If you're a teenager, you're definitely going to love this. If you're playing with kids, I know my audience is much older to a degree, like around my age, like 27, 25. And this is fun to play with a buddy, but it's not something you really want to play by yourself because the humor won't necessarily work for everyone. It's very much that Rick and Morty style humor, so I just have to call that out. It just depends on your preference, but I always call attention to if I have a bias towards something, and if I don't, that's what sets my reviews apart from others. I try and be objective. So when I tell you that I have, a certain taste and this humor doesn't necessarily work for me, it doesn't mean it's bad, okay? Now I'm glad we got that out of the way. We understand how opinions work. It's 2025. We need more opinions. But basically, if you don't know the history of these developers, I'm going to get into the positives and negatives with all of my reviews, like I always do with my early access stuff, so just bear with me a second. But a little backstory, these developers were basically hired to make a game for the platform Stadia, and if you know anything about that platform, it didn't go well. Like, everything has to be a subscription service and all of this segmented bullshit. Anti-consumer stuff, we don't like it, okay? But they were hired to make a game, and then they had some kind of issues with Google, but now they're free and independent, and the story of this game heavily reflects their experience with being laid off work, having to answer to corporate overlords, and I think that's very relatable in this modern day dystopia. So I do like that anti-capitalist style of humor. It's, seen in games like The Outer Worlds, like I said, Rick and Morty, Futurama, and it works in those types of experiences, but it can be overdone, okay, like in The Outer Worlds to a degree, and I think that this does overdo it a little bit with the commercials, the ads, but I can tell that the people making this game had a blast making it because the ads are all done by, real world actors, people who worked on the game, and they create these weird ads, very hyper capitalist, poking fun at that type of, kind of society, and it does work now and then, but I'm just, letting you know that it's not going to work for everyone.
The grab-and-go superlicious mega morphological food paste from Suckage Farms. The universe's #4 sustenance resource just got a whole lot juicier with Platinum Slurp Plus, Nutriminerals, Power Booster Edge 20 million. Anatomically reconfigurable nanoclusters simulate a virtually unlimited number of foods and beverages in your mouth and straight into your stomach for maximum satisfaction with exemplary convenience. With tastes, flavors, and textures like beef, chicken, pork, chocolate mousse, hard candy, chili bacon burger, Sani mayonnaise, chives, baked ziti, Parmesan cheese, vanilla swirl, Long John donuts, Salisbury steak, pasta paisana, buffalo banana wings, horse biscuits, pineapple pizza poppers, lamb spleen, poutine, wonton pickle surprise, cucumber shitwater, nose broth, and literally trillions more.
Now that's good flavor.
Raw, the 100% artificial food replacement gel taking Earth by storm. Don't be a snob, eat with the mob. Replace your food with Raw.
Raw is considered a class 9 retrocluster and is not cleared for non-terrestrial territories. Do not under any circumstances feed to star gerbils. See website for details.
But I do love to see AA games trying something new, and one thing that this game does so well, and I'm so happy about, is it's actually caring about bringing gamers together, and that's what I want to see, creative ideas and sharing these experiences like I did when I was growing up. Split screen co-op, let's take a look at some of the gameplay with split screen. So as you can see here now, it's in split screen and it just looks so good. The resolution scaling is nice. It's not like, the FPS is massively lost or anything. They did a good job, and seeing games like this and recently Split Fiction, it gives me hope for modern day gamers to have that same experience, the community aspect of gaming that's so fun. But it goes beyond this, okay? This game is going to be cross-play, so you can play with anyone. But let's actually talk now about the negatives and the positives that this game does so well, and if it's actually worth playing Revenge of the Savage Planet. It is, trust me. I actually... No, it truly is. When you make videos for Google and then you have to make fun of a game, making fun of hyper-capitalism. It just puts things into perspective, but it really does mean the world to me just doing this and having interaction with you guys. That's the whole reason I do this, otherwise I wouldn't care. So please sound off in the comments, because I just love having a conversation with you guys, and I really do appreciate you watching my content. So the first positive of Revenge of the Savage Planet, like I said, it's that co-op aspect. It's split screen, crossplay, all of that stuff. It just works, as Todd Howard says, and I just want to see more experiences like that. And it builds upon the first game in all the best areas, okay? Because basically now, the first game felt kind of lacking with its platforming. Now it makes a lot more sense. So now you have a jetpack, so it's much more easy to navigate the world. Everything interacts with each other in this game world. Slime will catch on fire. Fire will, interact with water elements. You can go underwater. There's lots of seamless exploration and experimentation with the open world. There are 5 main planets now in Revenge of the Savage Planet. 5 whole planets to explore in Revenge of the Savage Planet. And yes, they're not completely open world, but they are more open zones, but still a lot of exploration in this. And I love how everything is, systematic and works, in tandem with your exploration. So you can pick up an object and use it to aid in platforming, like a bouncing, platform, and stack it. You can do, crazy stuff like interacting with the wildlife. Of course, like with the first game, you can kick animals, you can lure them with bait. And now there's this even like Pokemon collectathon aspect to this game, where you can capture the wildlife and then raise them, use them for resources and stuff like that. The next positive is customization. Now being in third person, it's much more animated. Your walking style is just like hilarious, because it's just so over the top, optimistic, and cartoonish. The same thing with your running. It kind of feels like a Pixar movie in motion, but there's so much customization here with how you look, and also with vehicles now in this game. So when you explore underwater, there are elements of this open world that you can't explore until you do that kind of Metroidvania, leveling up style of, gameplay. So, for example, there's toxic swamps which you can't traverse until you unlock, a gas mask. The same thing for exploring underwater. You can then get vehicles to explore underwater better. So there's all of this, exploration, getting the Metroidvania element item, and then going back to explore further, kind of gameplay loop, lots of platforming, mini puzzles to solve, and that's where the kind of core loop of this game actually is. Small negative I'll have to say is, if you don't like that kind of gameplay style of No Man's Sky, where you're going around scanning a lot of stuff, grinding for resources, luckily this isn't very grindy, but you still do have to collect resources for, building stuff, leveling up, and all that kind of stuff, and, collecting resources from animals and just the environment in general. And if you don't like that type of gameplay, then you're not gonna like it here, but it is much more light compared to No Man's Sky, but it does have some of that kind of gameplay DNA in it as well. Another positive is just the third-person combat feels so much better. That's one thing I really didn't like about the first game. The combat felt very stiff. The bosses, if you can call them that, were very one-dimensional and, easy to just kind of figure out and cheese, very open attacks and stuff like that. And it was cool, having different like aliens with different element types, but eventually the combat got very stale, and it was just, I don't know, it just felt very artificial with giving you challenge in that game. They had a permadeath mode in it, which felt very unfair and kind of ridiculous, and at times it kind of restricted you, where you go off and explore something and you can't get over a certain, like invisible wall. This game is much more better at that. It doesn't force you down like corridors where the first game kind of felt much more closed off. This allows for exploration and experimentation with the world. The combat is definitely better. Enemies are less in this because it isn't focused on combat as much, but where there are enemies, they are varied, with ranged enemies and, up close and personal attacks and stuff like that. And, you have a simple arsenal to kind of fend off against those enemies. But I love how everything, again, feels much more alive. Like when you blow an alien open, you'll be covered in its blood, in its goop, and then that can actually react further with the gameplay and the world around you. Now, if you love games where you can really customize your experience, you can build up your player base as well and, you know, customize that. So there is some elements of base building here and just having that exploration feel without being, you know, overburdened by a massive open world. This gives you that because it gives you 5 unique different locations to explore, you know, 5 planets. Like I said, not fully open world, but, you know, very big enough to fully explore everything. And if you like that type of progression where, you know, oh, over here there's a new area I can explore, but I need to unlock a certain item like a grappling hook or whatever, and then I can go explore it. And then, you know, you have to go and do a mission to get that item, to level up your character. There's these secret kind of like alien nesting eggs. There are these alien alien pods across the world, hidden in different locations, and you have to do some kind of platforming challenge to get them, and then you eat the goop, and then you level up. You know, it's simple stuff, but it works, okay? It's just a simple, fun Metroidvania game, and it's honestly quite refreshing. Do I think it's going to be remembered? Not really. Do I think it's going to be very successful? Again, not very successful, sadly. I think that this type of game is needed and more people should give it a chance, but there's not much hype around this game, and I just thought I would talk about it today to try and give it some, you know, much needed attention. So there you go, that is my quick early access Revenge of the Savage Planet review. Let me know what you think of this game if you're gonna go check it out. This month is going to be packed with amazing games and I can't wait to cover them. Look out for some philosophical content as well on the channel. I'm working on a few vlogs and stuff like that as well. And also I'm gonna do some more, you know, kind of gaming analysis videos, some yearly reviews as well, hopefully this month with my co-host. So a lot of great content to look forward to this month in particular, but a month this stacked with amazing games, because this month and this year in general is going to be crazy for gaming. I just don't think that this type of experience is going to stand out, and the gaming industry is in a weird situation right now where big AAA games are lasting a long time and people are playing older games. They're not playing new games, and so many new games that get made, if they don't get any success to begin with, then they just die completely, and that's why the industry is kind of stagnating. But I do feel that resurgence in creativity, so it is important to support games like this. So if you are interested, like I said, use my link on Instant Gaming to get a discount, and then, you know, it's a win-win. You can play the game and you don't have to pay full price for it, you know, and just test it out to see if you like it. So thank you for watching, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Have a great day. Peace out.